Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Friar Talk here after maybe one of the most exciting, or maybe the most exciting WBC ever. Um, Obviously, Mexico and Japan had a very good game yesterday. People calling it one of the best games ever, and then Japan and USA go toe to toe today with Japan emerging victorious. Um, I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't get to watch most of the WBC, but sounded like it was a great time. Sounded like it was a great event, and I'm very happy that it was something good that happened for baseball. And it's going to be exciting to see how the WBC goes about itself for these next couple of years, whether it grows in popularity, whether it helps baseball in general grow in popularity. That's going to be exciting to see. But a lot of these guys got more followings. Lars Nootbaar went from, I forgot how many followers on Instagram, to many, many more. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani. Same thing with a lot of these guys. They went from national, the U.S. stars to international stars. So that's that's great to see. One sec. All right, let's see what you guys' comments are. I know there's not that many since we just started, but um, yeah, let me know what you guys thought about the WBC. Obviously, there's not going to be much to talk about in terms of the Padres. I feel like the main things are going to be Juan Soto and Austin Nola. Obviously, by the title, you guys know that Juan Soto. He's, for anyone who doesn't know, he's dealing with an oblique injury right now. Um, it's said to be pretty mild, said to be minor, hoping that he's going to be fine by opening day. But it's concerning because the oblique has it has so much impact in your swing. I believe it's his left back oblique. Um, so I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have on his swing, but hopefully it's not too much. Hopefully he's ready by opening day. Same thing with Austin Nola. I originally thought when I saw him get hit in the face, I thought there was going to be a lengthy injury, just because it's not only taking into account that he might have broken his nose, but it's also taking into account that he's going to have to step back in the box. That might be a traumatizing event for him. And I can't imagine me wanting to step in the box 3 weeks after I just got hit in the face. I don't think I could do that, but maybe Austin Nola's different. But yeah, I mean, other than those injuries, there's not much to talk about. What's going on, Jesus? Um, Juan Soto is going to be the biggest one, just because he he's starting to deal with some injuries. He was dealing with a calf injury earlier this spring training. Now he's dealing with an oblique injury, and it's starting to get a little concerning. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine, I think. I mean, he's gonna have to, maybe go the Manny route and come in a little earlier, get some treatment on his oblique, and I don't know if his calf's still bothering him or not. I doubt it, but hopefully it all works out for him. But as far as Austin Nola goes, it was a concerning situation just because we don't have much catching depth. If he doesn't play, it's up to Campy and Pedro Severino, and that's it. Which is it. It depends on how you view Campusano, but I don't think it's a very reliable duo. Um, Not only because these guys, Pedro Severino, I mean, he's not very good, but um, Luis Campusano is not proven at the big league level, and the guys originally, like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, they didn't like throwing to him at first. I don't know if that's changed or whatnot. Joe Musgrove seemed like he did like throwing to him, but he's unproven at maybe the second most important position on the field. Um, and we just had someone on talking about Luis Campusano. We do have to temper expectations. He's probably not going to be that catching prospect that we thought, or that catcher that we thought he would be. We all thought he would be some sort of star catcher. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be much of an expectation anymore. But he was going to start the season on the roster anyway. It was more of a matter of how much playing time is he going to get, how much playing time is he going to earn. Um, I'd imagine to start the season he's going to get a lot more than we anticipated, just because we don't know what's going to happen with Austin Nola. But as far as tonight goes, I mean, the Padres played Tatis, Manny, Crony, Xander. They were all in the lineup, and at one point during the game, it was like 7-0. It was like, why are you going to watch the Padres play over, the WBC final? But overall, it's pretty moot point in terms of the Padres season right now. I see that Matt time to trade for a catcher. That's pretty interesting. I don't think it's going to be time to trade for a catcher. Let me know what you guys think about trading for a catcher. I think it's going to be more important to trade for a pitcher, save our resources for a pitcher, because right now it's not looking very good in the pitching front either. Yu Darvish, I thought he was going to go to the WBC to kind of ramp up, and that didn't happen. He only ended up pitching 5 to 7 innings, something like that. He didn't get to pitch that much. Unfortunately, he didn't get to ramp up the way that we kind of expected him to, and that sucks. It sucks because he was going to be our opening day starter. And unfortunately, we don't get that anymore, or at least I don't think we'll get that anymore. Which I mean, that puts a severe that has a severe impact on the Padres. Because Joe Musgrove is also not going to be available to throw opening day. Blake Snell, he takes kind of a longer time to ramp up than what most people might think. It takes him some time to get into that Blake Snell that we saw at the back end of last year. But the front half of Blake Snell, the start of the season of Blake Snell is not very fun to watch. We don't know what type of Blake Snell we're going to get to start the season. And then we got Nick Martinez. He's probably not going to start. He might have to start opening day, but I don't really see him starting opening day. I'm not going to opening day. It's on a Thursday at 1, which is ridiculous. But I'll be tuning in. I'll be at work, but I'm definitely going to be tuning in, whether it's listening it to on Odyssey or streaming it on my phone, whatever it is. Yeah, I'll be tuning in. It's just so weird that it's at 1. I don't understand that on a weekday. I feel like all games on weekdays should be at earliest 5, especially in the Western. Like, we're in the West, so Pacific time. I feel like they should be at 5. Nobody on the East is really going to tune into the Padres. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to talk about, to be honest. It's kind of dead. It's kind of dead on the Padres front. 1 second. All right. I feel like Campy will be very similar to Alfaro at the plate. Hopefully hit a little better for average. Yeah, that's kind of the hope, just because, yeah, Alfaro did end up striking out a lot. It was probably like a good 30% of the time at one point for Alfaro, maybe even more. He was really good in the clutch, but he wasn't very good otherwise. And the hope with Campusano right now, I like his swing right now. It has a nice, seems like he's trying to get some launch angle on his ball, and I really like that, because we haven't had much power from the catching position these past few years out of Austin Nola. I believe last year we got like 2 home runs. I don't think that's going to do it. And I've been saying I think Austin Nola is expendable. I don't think he should be locked into that spot, but because we don't have much better options, he's going to have to be locked into that spot. Fangraphs ranked us, I think it was 26th in the catcher position in all of the MLB. So that's arguably our weakest spot. I do think that's our weakest spot. You can argue it's Trent Grisham. I don't think there's another spot you can argue about. I think catcher is easily our weakest spot. And I think it's going to be a position that we're going to be looking to upgrade at the deadline, if not pitcher. I do firmly believe we're going to need another pitcher. I really only feel confident in the top 3, and that's nothing against Nick Martinez, but I don't think Nick Martinez is going to be, or well, there's Michael Wacha as well, but those are 2 guys that had seasons. Michael Wacha had a better season than what that advanced stats show. And I don't want to be that guy that, says that advanced stats show everything. But when it comes to anticipating guys that you might expect to have sort of a downfall or negative regression, Michael Wacha might be one. I forgot what his expected ERA was supposed to be last year. I'll bring it up in another video, but he might be one. Nick Martinez, fantastic out of the bullpen. Hopefully he's able to ramp up and be good as a starter. But other than that, it's kind of a scary situation. Jay Groom, we don't know what we're getting from Jay Groom. We don't know what we're getting from Julio Teheran and all these other guys. But those are going to be the 2 positions that we're going to be looking at the deadline and saying, hey, we might need a trade for another pitcher or a catcher. And we know AJ is going to do his best to try and pull one of those off. It's going to be a big talk at the deadline for the Padres, barring any injuries to any of the starters. I can't imagine. I can't think off the top of my head what kind of catchers or pitchers will be available, but that's going to be those two positions are going to be the main ones I'm going to be looking at least. And I don't feel like there's any other positions that you can argue about. I mean, Jake Cronenworth's locked in at first. Ha-Seong Kim's locked in at second. Xander and Manny are two top. Xander's a top 25 player. Manny's a top 10 player. Top 5 if you want to argue that. Tatis Soto, same thing. I expect positive regression from Trent Grisham. So hopefully going to the deadline, those are the only two positions we're worried about. And hopefully teams like the Dodgers or teams like other teams with top farm systems aren't competing with us, because that's going to hinder us. Trading all of our elite prospects for Juan Soto is going to hinder us at this trade deadline. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Trading for Juan Soto, trading the farm for Juan Soto is the optimal move. That's the move you want to make. But that comes with, all right, in future trade deadlines, we're not going to have these guys. So have these guys to trade for another asset. So that does come with it. But I mean, that's Juan Soto. That's the best hitter in baseball. So it's worth it. I hope we get another legit starter, because players are going to get more hits with the removal of the shift. Our defense can only do so much covering, so much infield. I think, I see what you're saying. But I do think that the Padres are well positioned to have one of the best defensive infields in the league, because I feel like there's not a team in the league that has as much athleticism in the infield. You have the best defensive third baseman, arguably, in Manny Machado. Xander Bogaerts improved significantly on defense last year. I think he finished with a Gold Glove or just outside of reach of a Gold Glove. Ha-Seong Kim is one of the best defenders. He has amazing range. Same thing with Jake Cronenworth at first base. I feel like they have nothing but athletes in the infield, and that's going to be a huge advantage for the Padres. I don't feel like there's another team in baseball that has it like that. So the pitchers are going to get a lot of help even without the shift. And even then, there's teams starting to find loopholes in the shift. They're starting to bring the right fielder in on a lefty, like significantly in on a lefty, and vice versa for righties. So that's going to be interesting to see, because I was really hoping I didn't want the shift to go away completely, and it didn't, which is a good thing. But it's going to be interesting to see these teams kind of find loopholes, because I didn't think there'd be a way to find a loophole. See what other comments there are. I don't know if I'm just not getting comment. I don't know, but there's not much to talk about. The WBC. Let's talk about the WBC. Obviously, Japan won. I forgot the guy's name. I think he won the Triple Crown last year in Japan. He's going to be a hot commodity when he's able to hit the market. I think same thing with obviously Roki Sasaki. That's going to be the biggest, maybe the biggest international guy, the biggest guy out of Japan since Shohei Ohtani. He was able to throw like 20 consecutive 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. That's a guy that AJ Preller is going to be keying in on. And it's going to be exciting to see if he does become a Padre, or even where he goes in general. I don't know how much he's going to command, but he's arguably, at 21 years old, one of the top 5 pitchers in the world. He's not even in the bigs yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's able to progress to the bigs, and how he's going to be able to do. Yeah, I don't know what to talk about. I might end this pretty early, to be honest. But let me know what you guys thought about the WBC, or any future sign, or any trades that you think the Padres can make before the season starts. I know people are kind of urging the Padres, or thinking that we're not going to wait until the regular season we're not going to wait till the trade deadline to add another starter or anything like that. I think a lot of people want the Padres to make a trade now for a pitcher or a catcher, but I don't think that's realistic. I think they're going in with the guys they have now, and they're going to wait till the trade deadline to see what they need to upgrade. I don't think it's a smart move to make a Sean Manaea type deal, where I think it's a little different with Sean Manaea. You did definitely need another pitcher, and Sean Manaea was very useful for the first half of the season, but it's going to be interesting to see what type of deals the Padres are going to try swinging before the season. What would Burns cost the Padres at the trade deadline? Maryland, one other. That's interesting because it's a rental, and you don't really know what the Brewers are going to offer. You also don't know who you're going to be in competition with at the trade deadline. We've brought it up numerous times. If you're in competition with the Dodgers at the trade deadline for a player, you're going to lose because the Dodgers have much more resources to trade than we do. The best guy we have is, that's going to be ready soon is Jackson Merrill. Other than that, you got Ethan Salas, who's not going to be ready for a long time. Samuel Zavala is not going to be ready for a long time. There's a lot of guys in the farm system that are very young. We don't know what their value is. We don't know how highly they're valued yet because they haven't had enough time to progress in the minors. So we don't know how other major league, especially like the Brewers, we don't know how they're going to value them. I mean, you look at the Josh Hader trade for 1.5 years of control. It's Nelson Lamet, Taylor Rogers, Robert Gasser, and Esteury Ruiz. I know Robert Gasser was ranked 8th in the farm system at the time. Janelson Lamet was obviously cooked. Taylor Rogers cooked at the time. Esteury Ruiz wasn't going to be a very valuable piece for the Padres, in my opinion. So I don't know what it would cost. I would imagine if it was Merrill, I would imagine only 1 or 2 other prospects. If it's not Merrill, it's probably going to cost us 3, 4 top 15 prospects. But yeah, it depends on who you're in competition with, because if we aren't able to swing a trade, I'm not going to be disappointed because I know they tried. But it's just we don't have the resources. We give them all up for Juan Soto, rightfully so. I completely understand. But when it comes to the trade deadline, it might not just be Burns that's on the market. There's a lot of pitchers that might be on the market. I mean, there's always pitchers that we don't anticipate are going to be on the market. I didn't think Max Scherzer was going to be on the market a few years back. No one thought Juan Soto was going to hit the open market or the trade market when we traded for him. There's a lot of players that end up hitting the market, so it's just going to be a wait and see. And we're just going to have to hope that it's a buyer's market, because I think when the Padres weren't able to acquire a pitcher at the deadline in 2021, it was because it didn't seem like the Padres were willing to give up what it took to get in that market. That was easily a seller's market. A lot of teams fleeced. Jose Barrios was acquired for a lot at the time. Same thing with Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Whether those trades panned out or not, I don't know, but it was a buyer's market at the time. And I don't know about last year, but we're gonna have to hope that it's in favor of our resources, because we don't have a lot to give. There's major league resources. There's Trent Grisham and Ha-Seong Kim, but those are two of the backbones of our team right now. Like if those guys are balling out at the trade deadline, why are you going to want to trade one? If you're kind of hoping Trent Grisham balls out, in the sense that you'll be able to keep him because he's having a good season and you're relying on him at the plate, or B, there's a player that you want on the market, and Trent Grisham is a solid, controllable player you'll be able to give up. I'm not opposed to it. That's the unfortunate reality right now, is that the Padres aren't the team that has a bunch of prospects to give up anymore. In a trade, if they want a star, they're going to have to give up a valuable major league piece, I think, whether that's Trent Grisham, Ha-Seong Kim, Jake Cronenworth. I think that's the unfortunate reality that we're going to have to face, is that one of our major league guys might have to go if we want to acquire a stud like Corbin Burns or something like that. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know how AJ Preller is going to navigate when it comes to saying, I understand that this is Corbin Burns, is a top 5 pitcher in baseball. This is a guy that you want in game 1 of every playoff series, and he's probably going to win you that game, which is a massive advantage. But do you want to give up a major league piece? Do you want to give up the last guy that you're relying on in the farm system in Jackson Merrill? So, there's question marks when it comes to the trade. Of course, I'm willing to trade anyone in the farm. I don't care. But I know the Padres, with these massive contracts, they want to start getting young players in the mix, so that way they can have those those massive contracts don't end up affecting them. What's up with Morejon and Weathers? Morejon, he had recently gotten injured. He had, I believe it was an elbow injury. The back of his elbow, he had like elbow inflammation. He had to get an MRI. At first, it sounded like he was headed for the IL, for an extended stint on the IL, or not being ready to start the season. But he got the MRI. It came back. I think it came back clean, or it came back not as bad as we expected. So that was a good sign. I don't expect Morejon to start the season in the bullpen or anything. I do think he's going to be in the minors to start the season, just because this is a really good bullpen. And I mean, there's not a spot for him in the rotation right now. And with his injury, it's just going to set him back. So I don't think he's going to start the season on the roster. But it was good news to hear that his injury is not as bad as we expected. But it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate injury history for Adrian Morejon. So even if it's not as bad as we expected, we don't know what to expect for the future. Hopefully, it's nothing but good health for him, because he's a fantastic pitcher. I think he's a great player. We saw glimpses of him in 2020, and he looked really good. Even in a starter's role, he looked really good. So, wishing nothing but good health for him. But Ryan Weathers, I haven't seen too much lately on Ryan Weathers. I know that in spring training, he was pumping 96, 97 at times. So with the fastball velocities back up, change to his mechanics was able to help him do that. Stuff is looking pretty solid. The back foot slider is looking pretty good. I also don't think he's going to start the season on the roster. I think he's going to be more of a depth piece, more of a, we need to start from someone. Let's get Ryan Weathers in there. Glad to see the Padres haven't really given up yet, because this is a guy that obviously does have the potential. Whether it be in a long reliever role, bullpen role, whatever it is. The thing with Ryan Weathers is that he's very set on being a starter, which is unfortunate, because I do think he can be really good in a bullpen role. I think he can help this team much more in a bullpen role. But we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see if he's willing to adapt to that. Overall, fastball velocity is up. Stuff is good. Quan Pham said new windup. That I think that's what it was that he was saying was helping him. So hopefully he's able to be valuable for the Padres. I believe it was last year or this year that was his ETA, along with Luis Campusano. Both of those guys are supposed to be impact players this year, or they were already supposed to be. So we're relying on them to be valuable pieces. We're not asking for stars out of them. We're just asking them to be valuable. And for anyone who didn't see, Drew Pomeranz had a setback. I believe he also had elbow inflammation. He was on track to be ready for opening day. He's not going to be ready for opening day anymore. Unfortunate. It sucks, because he is a pretty good pitcher. He's really good out of the bullpen. He's exciting. He's locked down when he's out there, but injuries keep taking him away from our roster. And obviously it's probably not a contract, or the money will be able to move off of our team. I don't think that's going to be able to happen, unfortunately. We're going to have to keep riding him out, and hope that he's finally able to pitch. He said that he doesn't come to camp, not wanting to pitch. He wants to be out there, but unfortunately injuries have derailed him. And we're kind of hoping that he's good by May, June, because it's been too long. This is money this is 10 million. This is 10 million in our bullpen that we're not getting any value out of. So we're kind of hoping that he gets healthy soon, because he's a good player. Ohtani, future Padre. See, that's another rental that could cost a lot, that we could be in the running for. But I honestly think the Angels are going to be all right. I don't think they're going to be that bad of a team. I think they're going to be in the running for the 6th seed. And if they are, you're not looking to trade Shohei Ohtani. Because I think in a 3-game series, I think the Angels are pretty set. They're going to win at least one, probably, with Shohei Ohtani on the bump. Then they just got to scrape by one more. So I think if they're in the running for the 6th seed, I think that's a pretty good team to at least win the wild card series. And why would they trade Shohei Ohtani if they can show him, like, hey, look, we're not many pieces away. We'll get you the pieces this year, but you have to sign this fat extension with us. So yeah, I don't know. I want Ohtani to be a Padre. Everyone wants Ohtani on their team, but it all depends on if the Angels, who I think will be competitive, are still in the running or not. Yeah, Profar Profar signed for 7.75. I believe his deal with us was for 7.5. I hate that he's not here no more. He maybe not a fan favorite, but I think he was easy to root for. He had a down 2021, maybe not even a down 2021, because that's honestly it was like a normal Profar year. He wasn't very good. But He came back in 2022 and posted okay numbers. He only had like a 730 OPS, but provided very solid defense in left field. He got timely hits, and I thought he was a very valuable player for the Padres last year, and I was really hoping he would be back. I understood testing the open market. Reports came out he wanted 15 mil a year. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that. I think he knows his value, but that also could just be Scott Boras saying like, let's get you as much money as we can, and let's say 15 mil, and no one's gonna be willing to pay that for jerks and Profar. I don't even think he's worth 12. I think he's worth 10. But he only got 7.75 because he overvalued himself. And I wish he was a Padre, but is what it is. Did they ever say anything about the results of Soto's CAT scan today? I think it's tomorrow. I think he has an MRI tomorrow, or I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but I know it's just a mild injury, so they're hoping he's going to be back by opening day. I see Juan Fam asked about Roki Sasaki. I talked about him a little earlier. Obviously, throws 100 miles per hour. He can do it almost consistently. AJ Preller is going to be in on him. We know that. I don't know how much he's going to command, but at 21 years old, he's arguably a top 5 pitcher in the world already. Being that young, being able to throw 100 miles per hour with the stuff that he has, he's going to be an amazing pitcher in the future. During the WBC, they were talking about Xander's improved defensive numbers last year. Yeah. I think that goes unnoticed, or at least slept on, in terms of what X is going to bring to the Padres. He wasn't a very good defender before last year. I don't know what his defensive numbers looked like, but he wasn't a very good defender. And then last year, comes out, he was really focusing on his defense. He ends up becoming a very good defender with the Red Sox. And I honestly feel like the Xander Bogaerts signing has kind of been slept on around the league. Even with some Padre fans, I hear him saying, Xander Bogaerts, whatever. But this guy put up a 6 WAR last year. He was the leader of a clubhouse for years. This is maybe not like the Manny Machado signing, but it's pretty damn close in terms of obviously not in age. Manny was much younger, but a guy that you expect to be the leader of a clubhouse, a valuable player, a valuable guy in your lineup, and you're starting to see, I don't know if this is how it's going to play out during the season, but right now we're seeing a lot of Fernando leading off and Xander batting 4th. And that was the main conflict in terms of the lineup, was Soto and Machado are locked in 2-3 for sure. That wasn't going to be debatable. That was the case last year. That's going to be the case this season. Now it was, do you want to get Fernando the most at bats, or do you want to get him the most RBI opportunities? And as of right now, whether it's you want to get him the most at bats to get ramped up, or this is what you want in the regular season, it's shaping up to be you want to get him the most at bats. And in the leadoff spot is where Fernando has been extremely successful. So, and then going back to X, he put up a 6 WAR last year. He had like an 830, 840 OPS. He does that consistently. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Probably I think he's gonna hit maybe 20 this year. But if he's hitting almost 300, has over an 800 OPS, is providing solid defense at shortstop, and is a leader in the clubhouse, what more can you ask for? He's only 25 million. That's almost Javi Baez. That's a little more than Javi Baez, in my opinion. A bad player. He's not making much more than that. And for a guy coming off a 6 WAR season, he should have cost a lot more. But the Padres got him for 25, and he's going to be a really key part to the Padres lineup. We should have X play second. I want Cameron Tatis playing short. I think that's the case with a lot of fans, but at least for this year, Xander's playing shortstop. That was promised to him. It wasn't promised to him that beyond this year he would be playing shortstop. That was something that I've heard repeatedly. After this year, there are no guarantees Xander will be the shortstop. But for this year, he is playing shortstop. That's already said and done. Ha-Seong Kim is going to be fantastic at second. Fernando's going to be solid and right. And that signing was really all about maximizing the potential of the lineup, because Kim is going to be good wherever he plays. Xander is established as a shortstop. Jake has already been great at first base. It's just a matter of how's Fernando going to translate to the outfield. That's only one guy that you're really worried about. So I loved the signing because I think if you're really only worried about one guy defensively who has all the athletic tools to be an outfielder, the signing is absolutely worth it. Because now you're getting four guys at the top of your lineup, maybe one of the best, out of I don't know what the word is for four people. Quartet, I don't know what you want to call it, but now you're getting one of the best top four lineups ever. So that you have to get through Fernando, Soto, Manny, and Xander Bogaerts 3-4 times a game. There's almost no chance that any pitcher is going to go clean against them. So, I mean, I loved the signing. It's a great signing. Honestly, the best defensive infield would be if you flip Kim and Bogaerts. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. Unfortunately, I think so too. But like I said, it was promised to him that he's going to be playing shortstop. Juan talks about Roki Sasaki not being available until he's 26. I saw something that, and I highly doubt the Japanese officials or anything will let him do this, but he can become available earlier. I forgot how. He has to get some sort of approval, but he can become available earlier. Bogaerts will be hitting for average. Yeah, it's basically been his MO. Last year, I believe he hit either 300 or pretty damn close to 300. I love the signing. I think it's going to be fun. I think he's a super fun player. And I think that, for whoever isn't very familiar, I feel like not a lot of people were too familiar with Xander Bogaerts, or at least if you're not a real baseball fan, you weren't too familiar with Xander Bogaerts. But, I think as a Padres fan, I think as Padres fans in general watch him throughout the year, they're going to become, more and more excited about the bargain of a contract that we got for Xander Bogaerts. Trade for Tyler Stevenson. Yeah, we'll talk about trades sometime soon. But it's just too early in the season. And I think that Matt, Chase, and I were all in kind of consensus that the Padres won't be making any trades before the season starts. I think they're set. They're content with their roster right now. I don't think they need to do much more. You look at the other teams in the division, the Dodgers didn't really improve. They haven't done anything significant. The Giants haven't done anything significant. The Diamondbacks, none of them have done much. So right now, this division is very much within reach. I know the over-under today was 92.5 wins. Let me know if you guys are taking the over or under on that. I'm taking slightly over. I'm taking 94 wins. I think the Padres will win 94 games. That's pretty tough. They won 89 games last year. That was without Fernando. That was without Xander Bogaerts. Probably a little bit better of a pitching staff, but it was without those guys. So, I'm going 94. Do you think Snell will leave this year? Yeah, I think this is for sure Snell's last year. It just depends. It depends on if he plays himself. And ideally, you want him to play himself out of San Diego. Because if he plays himself out of San Diego, that means you just got an amazing season from Blake Snell, like in the high 2 ERAs. The best pitcher in the rotation type thing. You want him to play himself out of San Diego. Because and let's say he does do really good. I highly doubt they're just going to let him walk. I think they're going to try and bring him back, but Snell, that guy wants his money, man. He wants his money. And he does like San Diego. He likes being a Padre. And I love watching him, but he wants his money, and rightfully so. So, ideally he plays himself out. We'll at least try, but I don't think Blake Snell is going to be a Padre after this year. And you go back to that Blake Snell trade. Yes, you traded a lot. You traded Luis Patino. You traded Francisco Mejia and some. We won that. I definitely think we won that trade. This is why holding on to prospects can be such a dumb move, because yes, they might pan out, but the odds are much lower. The odds are much higher that they become a bust than them becoming a valuable player. And you look back and you think, oh, the Padres or teams typically lose trades when it comes to the Rays. We've won twice. We beat them both. We won both of those trades with the Rays. The one with Jake Cronenworth and this one with Blake Snell. Both of them become very valuable players for the Padres. So anything that we provided to them, it was not of much significance, and they have not provided as much value to their team as those two have brought to ours. Manny Margot's solid, but he's not Jake Cronenworth. Hunter Renfroe's not with the team anymore. Francisco Mejia's okay. Luis Patino, I don't even know what's going on with Luis Patino. So the Padres, they beat the Rays on both ends. Blake Snell winning Game 6 of the World Series closed that game as a win-win for everyone. Yeah, he goes and gets his bag, and we have our World Series. But yeah, with that being said, unless you guys have any more questions, I'm probably going to head out right now. Like I said earlier, there's not too much to talk about in terms of the Padres. Opening day is next Thursday at 1 at Petco Park, for those of you who don't know. I don't know how much tickets are right now, but if you can go, you should definitely go. I know they got the Rockies. I know they got the Braves in April. There's quite a bit of good games in April, and hopefully I'll be able to go soon. But I see one more question. Wait, wasn't Cronenworth part of the Pham deal? He came here from Tampa with Tommy. Yes, he came here from Tampa Bay with Tommy Pham. I believe we gave up, I think it was Hunter Renfroe, Manny Margot. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm pretty sure it was Tommy Pham and Jake Cronenworth for those two. Obviously, Tommy Pham didn't pan out, but Jake Cronenworth is now a two-time All-Star and one of the best at the time, one of the best second basemen in baseball. You're now hoping he's one of the best first basemen in baseball. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I don't know if we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I don't know when the next time we're supposed to talk to you guys is, but talk to you guys soon.